Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at this Panerai Ferrari Granturismo Rattrapante FER00005, 45 millimeters in brushed and polished stainless steel. This watch comes from the 2005 to 2010 marriage of Panerai and, of course, Italy's iconic Ferrari high-performance auto manufacturer and racing team. And while at the time this was considered to be something of a shotgun marriage arranged by higher-ups in both companies' parent firms, the bottom line is it did spawn a series of low-volume watches with completely unique case forms, identities, and quite frankly, extraordinary value and exclusivity compared to the mainstream Panerai models. Taken on their own terms as very cool luxury sports watches, these Panerai Ferrari models have a lot to offer, and I feel that right now they're both undervalued and underappreciated. But take note, there was a time when Dino 246s and 206s were undervalued and underappreciated. That corrected itself in due course. You Ferrari guys know exactly what I mean. The bottom line is that Panerai Ferrari watches wear a little bit differently than the Radiomir and the Luminor models from Panerai. Now they sit pretty well on a smaller wrist. You can see my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. It means that this watch sits fairly high, but also it's fairly secure. Now the lugs are reasonably short. The case is nicely cupped on the back, so it nestles into the wrist just a bit. On the wrist, it's approximately 15 millimeters thick, so nice and thick, meaty, but not awkward. It's got a complex curvature to it and elegance that's honestly probably more visually related to the Panerai Luminor 1950 case than anything else, but this is not a 1950 case. It is an exclusive model built for the Panerai Ferrari series, and because those are 45 millimeter watches for the most part, they fit well on the smaller wrists, whereas the 47 millimeter watches sometimes challenge smaller wrists. In the Panerai line, these are a good choice. The strap is everything you would expect of a high-end watch manufacturer. Exceptionally sturdy alligator scale on the top. It's also round scale on the bottom. So you've got the rectangular scale on the top, you've got the round scale on the bottom. This is an unusual combination. Aside from the fact that it's color keyed and themed to the Ferrari Granturismo imagery, I've only seen a handful of watches that feature alligator, the more durable leather, on both sides of the strap, and realistically, the only one I've seen recently was a Louis Chopard limited edition high horology watch, of which 150 were made. We had that watch on the channel last week, so between Panerai Ferrari and that, a pretty select set and a rare sight. But make no mistake, alligator on both sides means very tough, long-lasting. And it's a meaty, nicely bolstered strap. It tapers off as it moves away from the lugs, but it does have that substance close up, and it holds the watch secure on the wrist. It also looks fantastic with a beautiful white contrasting stitch. It's got that look of contrasting stitch driving gloves, leather steering wheels, and of course the iconic Ferrari Italian leather upholstery for which the brand is known. Now, the buckle itself is also a highlight because of stainless steel, double deployment with twin trigger release. It's very sturdy. This is not like the almost apologetic spindly deployments that you sometimes see paired with straps, even on luxury watches. This feels almost like the dive extension of a robust diving watch clasp, something like an Omega Seamaster Professional or the Rolex Glide Lock system. The arms themselves, the hinges, everything just feels like $1 million. And you can see the degree of finishing is excellent, with a race-style honeycomb construction motif blazoned on the underside of the buckle, the pin buckle portion of the clasp. Very nicely built, closes with a satisfying click, precise, substantial, and also beautifully finished. It's consistent with the style and substance of the entire watch. Now moving inboard from that sinuously curved case, you can see the bezel, likewise cushioned but stepped to add a little bit of articulation, polished along the hoods of the case and onto the tops of the lugs, also on the side. You've got a great contrast between the brushed and the polished portions of this case. It's very nicely done, and it's just as attractive on the dial itself. Now the Panerai Ferrari watches feature a number of complications that make them, perhaps more than the standard Panerai models, uniquely interesting to fans of complication. Now this one features an automatic Rattrapante, so split-second chronograph. You can see the signature complication allows the timing of two simultaneous events, for instance, auto races, Formula One, especially if you're a Ferrari fan. So you can get your splits between the two competitors as they lap, and then the Rattrapante, the second split seconds hand, flies right back and you continue timing uninterrupted. Now it also works as a conventional chronograph in as much as you can stop it, you can start it, and you can reset it when it's stopped. But the bottom line is what sets this chronograph apart mechanically is the use of a column wheel actuator. Even though this is a Valjoux 7750 based automatic movement, it doesn't use the 7750's well-known coulisse or cam operated chronograph actuator. It uses a traditional column wheel, very crisp, great tactile feel. You also hear that satisfying snick, the click. Just like the clasp, it's a sign of precision in the mechanism. But the dial itself, aside from serving as a canvas for the Rattrapante, is also quite beautifully done with an inverted hobnail. You can see that waffle cut sitting just beneath the surface features. It's a tri-register chronograph in addition to being a Rattrapante, and each of the individual subdials features a beautiful linear grained sort of matte finish. I would say more linear than matte, metallic chaptering that really sets it apart from the dial base itself. All of the calibrations are very easy to read. It is still a Panerai in that sense. Legibility is outstanding, and there is a tachometer scale around the outer circumference, which is also dished to give the dial some depth. So you've got the depth of that almost conical, almost wall of death shaped tachometer scale, and then you go down to the dial with its waffle cut, and you see the beautiful applied features like the chapter rings of the sub-registers and that gorgeous polished cavallino rampante at the top. You can't forget that this is a Ferrari watch, but at the same time, you can feel that Panerai quality, and it's redolent of that quality. On the case back, again, you've got that motorsports composite-inspired honeycomb, but you've also got a great view of the Panerai caliber. Now, this particular example is called caliber OP18. It is an automatic Valjoux 7750-based Rattrapante chronograph, and the nice thing about it is it's very robust. So you've got a sports watch, but you've also got a movement built for a sports watch. A lot of times you'll see sports watches, and when manufacturers want to incorporate complications, they'll pull something from a dress watch with a complication, and you wind up with a watch that looks the business and a movement that's quickly out of business. That's not the case here. The 7750 is a tractor, it's a workhorse, it's exceptionally tough, and it's well placed in a watch inspired by motorsports and destined for active lifestyle use. 42-hour power reserve, a modern 4 Hz beat rate, so 28,800 vibrations per hour, 31 joules. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. When you pull the crown, it does hack, so you can synchronize precisely to a reference timer. And once again, you've got that Rattrapante split seconds chronograph with column wheel actuation. But what you also have in this watch is surprising versatility in as much as it has 100-meter water resistance, and the Panerai Ferrari crowns are outstanding in their design. Although screw down, they only require 1/2 turn to be unscrewed for use, and then 1/2 turn to hermetically seal. Plus, they give you this little color-coded red dot so you know if the crown is open, because it moves laterally very little when you screw it open. So you still get that 330-foot water resistance, despite the fact that this is very much a land sports-inspired chronograph, plus a unique crown design in a case that is dedicated to the Panerai for Ferrari line. Now, if you know that there are underappreciated Ferraris out there that are nevertheless incredible vehicles to own, cars like the Mondial QV, cars like the Dino 308 GT4 V8, that's sort of what the Panerai Ferrari line is. It's kind of like the Dino 246 before collectors discovered it. Fantastic substance, a tremendous experience, and great value for now. These watches are unique, their production numbers were very low, and more often than not, they feature interesting designs, attractive designs, and special complications like the split seconds chronograph. You can see this Panerai Ferrari Granturismo Rattrapante FER5 45mm in stainless steel on our website, Watch You Want.